And then you get to that point where that feedback there, your body feedback to the work that you're putting in, raises your confidence. But you remember, we just started with one pull-up, a little bit of chicken and broccoli. Do you see where I'm going here?
Yeah.
Don't focus on the end goal.
Like, I'm a massive component of that. I always I want my tagline to be 1% better in an area of your life every day, because as you start like looking at your life and like gauging my relationships, my whatever it is, my health, my work, etc., people see where they're losing their energy leaks, and they go, right, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and they come out with 50 different things they're going to do in each area, and then they give up after 3 days because they've taken on far too much. They're tired after the first workout because they've gone balls to the wall. Then they come back and go, oh, I'm just going to have a cheap meal because I'm going out for a pint. So they lose it. They have no willpower because they've not made subtle changes, like you're saying, like 1%, 1%. And that's what I say to anybody is start small, start with a body weight thing. I've done that pull-up thing. I do a pull-up every time I walk through the door. So when I was cleaning the flat, I'd go, all right, just a quick pull-up. And before you know it, you've done maybe 30 or 40 a day. And, you're not pushing yourself. And then you're suddenly like, if you can't afford weights, do some press ups. There's always something you can start doing. I mean, this, like, I probably should say, this is for advice for everybody who's over 40.
Yeah.
This isn't just for guys who've had a divorce or something.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
I think I mentioned, people who have hit rock bottom a few times, but I always say to them, it's like, you define what you want in life. You pick your goals and stuff, but you can start improving them. And this is why I'm surprised you haven't got a program, because I know your stuff helps people. You said we should always be looking to raise our value as a man. So regardless of what situation they are, how do we start raising our value? How do we not look at 40 as a doomsday scenario, but instead look at it as this is the season in your life where you have the most resources, and this is the season where I can truly become who I'm meant to be as a man, and look at it as a positive thing?
Yeah, so raising your value, there's a lot to break out there. When I say raising your value, first you've got to start asking yourself the questions, right? We hear this term, what do you bring to the table? Ignore all that. The point of raising your value is, if we look the difference between, they'll say, men are loved on condition, women, children, pets are loved unconditionally, etc. So what a guy brings to the table is they do something of any kind, right? So they create their value by doing things, whether that's a good job, it's a status thing, it's the car, there's all of these elements. They've got to be kind, compassionate, and everything else. But one of our purposes on this earth is to do something of value. So then what are your assets? So you sit down and go, what do I bring to the table to yourself? And people don't always understand, but it's not just how much you earn and the house that you live in, because your house isn't actually an asset if you're living in it. It's a liability because you live in the house, right? So the first thing, we all need a roof over our head, right? So you check that box, whether you own it or not. But ultimately what it comes down to is, what value do you bring? So you build resources. Your resources are your network as well.